Hey, Sasha here. Today I have a very special message for you. And in order to convey it, I'm actually going to share a story with you. And I'm going to be totally honest with you um, by telling you that I actually feel embarrassed sharing this with you. But I feel like I have to in order for you to really get where I'm coming from. Imagine that a little over 4 years ago, I had my son. And for me, it was brutal. It was really tough because my son had the most horrible colic, the most horrible colic. And he was constantly crying. Imagine that every 2 hours at night, he would wake up in pain. And months went by like this. And I don't have a mom or dad to help. My ex's parents are completely checked out in their own worlds. We didn't have any help whatsoever. And so the burden was on my son's father and me. And during that time frame, our relationship was really bad. It was really deteriorating. And, you know, after a certain number of months of not sleeping, I started losing it. I started feeling this terror um, the moment the sun would go down because I knew what was going to come. I knew that I wasn't going to sleep. One of the things that started happening was that every single time my son would cry out in the middle of the night, I would start to feel this anxiety, this pain in my body, literally like a pain. And it was like I had bat ears. The moment he cried, I would like get up practically like this. You know how in horror movies, the vampires, they're laying flat and all of a sudden in one full swoop they're up? That's the way I would wake up. And I would wake up anxious, heart beating. I was just so scared. I had this little tiny little person to take care of, and I just felt really on my own, to be honest. And in retrospect, I realized that his father was doing the best he could, but it was just really tough for me. So imagine that months go by, 2 months, three, four, five, six, and at last he ended up breaking that spell, and then he started being able to sleep for longer. But by then the damage was done. And I say that because I started experiencing a lot of pain in my bladder. So I went in to see a urologist. He did a whole workup on me, and he came back in and he said, "Listen, there's no blood in your bladder. Everything looks just fine. I'm betting that this is anxiety." When he said that, I felt so embarrassed. I felt so stupid. And I told him, "How could that possibly be? You don't understand. I'm the person that helps people with anxiety." And he looked at me and he was just like, "You just had a baby a few months ago. And I'm sure that's impacted your relationship as well. How have you been?" And that's when I told him everything. And so he told me, "Bingo. That's the reason why your bladder is irritable. It's acting up because you're anxious. So let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to prescribe you some medicine, and I believe that in a few months, this pain is going to go away. It's just going to go away on its own, and you're going to be just fine." Okay? And you can imagine me walking out of there. Honestly, I felt like a fake. I felt like a failure. How is it possible that I could be helping so many other people, but yet I didn't help myself when I most needed it? I took the pills, time went by. It was honestly a very tough time period. Those first few years of my son's life, and on and off, I had that pain. And it wasn't until I started to really take seriously working on myself that everything changed. I have not had that pain now in months. I haven't had it in months, but I did have it for a good while, and that really taught me something. It taught me that especially when you're going through a tough time, you must take care of yourself. We're so used to taking care of other people, putting their circumstances in front of ours, making them and their situations a priority, that it's so easy for us to forget ourselves. And that's a huge mistake because in the end, we end up paying the price. Um, and so I'm sharing this story because, the whole world is going through a tough time right now. And I want to make sure that you remember that self care is really important and that it's important that you be there 100% for yourself, especially now. Don't forget about yourself. Make sure to take care of yourself, to do the daily things that you need to do to make sure that you're okay. And I hope that you are able to really connect with my message with you for you today. And I really hope that you start doing everything you can to take good, loving care of yourself. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little story. If you liked it, then give it a like. And I look forward to sharing with you again soon.